Here's my new session dialog box. Before I can start, I need to tell Pro Tools what's going on. And it's important that once you set up your Pro Tools system and you have your hardware, which is your audio devices, you're going to make sure you can tell Pro Tools where to find them and how to use them. So we'll cancel out this new session. I'm going to go right here to Setup. I'm going to go to Hardware. Now here in Hardware, we want to go to the Launch Setup app. Here we launch, and you'll see here we have our setup. Now currently I'm using this Pro Tools Aggregate I/O, and this is going to be my source here, right? So you can see I have built-in mic, we have the built-in input and built-in output too at the same time. Now my clock source here, as you can see I have a clock source, output and an input. I'm going to make a clock source setup because it'll be the syncing for all devices that's hooked up to my Pro Tools setup. So I'm going to make sure that Pro Tools is the master controlling sync device. So I'm going to set my clock up for the output right here. And we're going to use our built-in output here for my output of the Pro Tools sync. Now my input, which I have my mic here, is my input. I'm currently using my mic for input so I can do the video. But normally, if I'm going to record audio in, I'll use my Pro Tools Aggregate I/O right here. So I click there. I also see the built-in mic, built-in input, built-in output. Now once this is configured properly, I'll normally go here to my speakers and set up my speakers as well. Now once that's done, and you're connected to your system, we'll close this out. Now next I want to go here to Setup. We're going to look at our playback engine. Now here's our playback engine. As I did before in the hardware setup, I made sure I had my built-in output set up for my sync. And here you see it again in the playback engine. Next we have our settings. This is my buffer size. This is the amount of memory that I can grab a hold of and use at one point in time, right? And so here I'm maxed out. And because I have like 16 gigabytes on my hard drive, I get to get a really strong system where I can really add a lot of plugins and sort of make it work better. And we'll talk more about this later on in our process of these lessons. So look, we also have our host engine, and here we can ignore errors during playback record. So either when I'm playing back or recording, sometimes there may be an error and the system may, I want to stop or something. This will ignore those errors, we'll get those pops and clicks, it'll keep going on. As you can see here below here, may cause pops and clicks. Be aware of that. We have our dynamic input processing. And so this is our dynamic plug-in processing. And what happens here is that it makes sure that we can get a much more robust system where we can utilize all the processing power for our plugins. Below that we have our video engine, which we'll talk about later on. But it's important to understand this is our playback engine.